because I've got some pictures that might really help with the process. Did you see a map of the United States up there?
Yeah, I do.
All right, awesome. So this arrow points to where we are. The Everglades National Park is on the southern tip of Florida. So pretty far and pretty different from where you are up in there. And I imagine that there are probably some similarities, but here it's pretty, it's pretty hot right now. The mosquitoes are starting to come out. In Everglades National Park, again, sits in the very southern Florida. So you can see my arrow tracing around this green boundary. Is the boundary of Everglades National Park. We've got 9 different unique and interdependent ecosystems, some of which you don't find anywhere else in the world. It's huge, 1.5 million acres, making it bigger than the state of Rhode Island. Pretty huge park, and even though we sort of drawn this arbitrary boundary line around it, that does not prevent creatures from coming in or from coming out, as we can see in a little bit. I'm located, I apologize, it's not the best picture, it's the southern portion of the park, not by the entrance, right here, in the middle of the tallgrass prairie and pine bog. So even though it's huge, there's only one road to be able to get into the park. It's 38 miles. So this is a basic picture. I'm not going to talk too much about the water flow, but the Everglades is not a swamp, despite what you might think. It's a new body of water called the River of Grass. And historically, if you look at that picture on the left, it used to flow all the way up from where Mickey Mouse lives, up in the Orlando area. And during the wet season, it was raining off a lot, pulse a giant sheet of water, incredibly slow moving to that big lake that you see. That's Lake Okeechobee, which would then overflow. 150 years, humans have diverted a lot of that water in the form of canals to allow the ground to farm and allowed for people to be able to live here. The extremes of the wet and dry season is really pretty drastic. The organisms that are out here have to be able to deal with incredibly wet summer months and incredibly dry winter months. And I wouldn't be talking about the Everglades if I wasn't talking about the American alligator. They're basically synonymous with the Everglades. For most people, when they think of the Everglades alligators, we do have thousands of alligators down here. But I'd like to point out just a couple of things. This is not a cartoon alligator, obviously, it's a photo of it. They're not green. We're going to talk about why that's important. So, are you looking at me now?
Yeah,
right.
we can still see you.
Okay, so I've got right here an alligator skull. Let's talk about a couple of their adaptations. Giant reptile, really pretty big, as you can see the alligator skull. Alligators have 80 teeth. It's missing a lot of its teeth, but they do not chew. They crush down and use their powerful mandibles, crush their prey, and then they swallow whole. We'll talk about why they have certain adaptations. That little hole right there, brain. These alligators are not particularly smart. They're very good at being alligators. They're very good at being alligators. Very good at hunting.
Bring it a little closer. I'll figure out what she did.
So you can get to about 17. Are you guys good?
Yeah, we're still here, yeah.
Okay. My computer's acting all wonky. They're kind of go through it. So critically important creature. They're the keystone species. Not only the apex predator, but they are responsible for literally building habitat in Everglades. They are keystone species, so without this animal, other animals would not be able to survive. We'll talk about that in just a second. I'm going to show a couple more pictures so you can look at truly well adapted these creatures are to their environment. So alligators, again, do a very good job. You can see them there blending in. Point out, if you can observe those spikes on their back, those are called scoops. They help them to make, they help them with camouflage, but they also serve important function with how they metabolize, how they digest their food. They got hands, arms and legs, but they don't really use them very much. They can walk, but generally they spend most of their time in the water. They have their big powerful tail that moves back and forth, helping propel them through the water. They do walk. It's not uncommon. And they're actually fairly timid creatures, and they're used to people. This is at a trail down the street from the park. From the office where I'm working at right now. Again, they're not typically aggressive unless it's breeding season, and they don't really see humans as much of a threat. And this is, if you come out to the Everglades, this is what Fritz is doing. And a lot of you can say they look lazy. That's true. They spend a lot of their time resting, but they're actually hard at work in that picture. So I mentioned that the alligators, they've got 80 teeth, but they don't chew. So here's an alligator tooth. Holding right here, usually about the size of my thumb, pretty big. Their teeth are actually hollow. So when an alligator bites down, again, thousands of pounds per square inch, their purpose is to crush their prey before they swallow it. That means they lose their teeth an awful lot. Now, even though this tooth is hollow, inside of the alligator's mouth, it's on top of another tooth. So like those red plastic cups people have at parties, alligators' teeth work in similar fashion. They're nested on top of each other, so if one tooth pops out, there's already another one underneath it. So because they swallow their prey well, it's very difficult for them to metabolize, digest. I know as humans, we cut up our food, we chew our food to aid in digestion. But when an alligator swallows its prey, it's got to digest the bones, it digests the fur, the feathers, whatever it has to eat, and maybe vegetables too. It falls in their mouth. So I mentioned in one of those pictures, if you look at the scoop on top of the alligator's back, this is one of those. And while it certainly acts as protection, put a little dimples on here. To places where blood collects. So they're bones, but they're not attached to the skeleton. The reason the blood pools there is because these are the alligator's solar panels. So it has that dark color to help them absorb the sunlight. They're ectothermic, right? Cold blooded, meaning they rely on the So these operate as solar panels to help them to digest. They spend about 80% of their energy digesting. So a lot of times these things sort of laying out, they're just like, oh, I can't believe I ate all of that. So they're incredibly important creatures. They are the apex predator. They're at the top of the animal kingdom, or excuse me, the top of the Everglades food chain. Now, they're not always like that. So adaptation is pretty cool. You can look at their eyes right there. They have two sets of eyelids, one that functions like ours, and then another one that actually opens from the bottom up. It's clear and it kind of operates like goggles that allow them to see underneath the water. So incredibly well adapted. Babies, they're actually still quite vulnerable. They're capable of being eaten by birds, snakes, other reptiles. The alligators, when they're younger, actually have one status. Again, it's not as critical for them to be absorbing sunlight as much as it is to be able to be camouflaged when they're younger. So when they're younger, they have those stripes, helps them to blend in to the environment. They'll stay with their mother for maybe 2 years, and then as soon as they grow older, those spikes, those stripes fade, and much more reliant upon. They don't have too much to worry about once they get to be about your age. Nothing can really mess with a alligator. And like I said, they hang out with them. And the only time an alligator would get terribly aggressive with you is if you're looking like you're going to be hurt with babies. So I mentioned that the alligator is the peak predator, but recently we've had a problem invader that has come to the Everglades. The Burmese python. As the name implies, the Burmese python is from Burma, Southeast Asia. And they were introduced by people. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but they are challenging an alligator spot in the food chain. So these pythons do not belong here. They didn't take like introduced by people. A lot of people consider to be the biggest invasive species threat here in the Everglades. Here's a picture of the python that we captured in the Everglades. Across the street from my office right now, it's about 19 feet in length. So you can imagine the amount of organisms it was able to eat be that size. So they're having a huge impact, particularly in small mammal population. So what we're doing is a couple of things here in the park. Top left corner right there, you're seeing a python feeding an alligator. That demonstrates that those alligators at the top of the food chain. Now they are threatened. Not only pythons are capable of eating them, but also the pythons are compete for food source. So in the Everglades, when we catch a python, they cut it open to remove its organs to see what it's been eating. They take all sorts of DNA information, and they want to know as best they can to understand the impacts of the environment. And one of the biggest reasons they are a problem, and I'll switch over really, if you look into the right picture right there, that is a deer inside of the snake's stomach. There are very quick and fast animals. They're not. Pythons will move about 1 or 2 miles an hour. But a deer can run up to 20 miles an hour. The fact that the organisms, the animals that live in the Everglades don't have any built-in senses. They don't have the instincts that recognize these pythons are a threat. So, how the heck do the pythons get here? We can't necessarily point to one instance, one particular specimen, but in the 70s, people had these pythons as pets. And I guess they look cute to some snake enthusiasts when they're babies, maybe only a foot long, but these snakes are rapidly grown. And I guess it gets kind of old when you have to feed your python a rabbit every week. And it's now 8 foot long. So there were some examples of people not knowing that the python does not belong here, and they released them into the wild. They said, "Hey, be free in the Everglades." The wrong habitat. There was a breeding facility that bred pythons and other exotic reptiles here. And in 1992, there was a Hurricane Andrew. But it devastated a lot of homesteads, and one of those breeding facilities was destroyed. And again, even though we draw lines around the Everglades, it doesn't necessarily prevent out or getting in and getting out. So when we do find an alligator, animal in the Everglades, a python, have some opportunity to be able to learn and benefit from it. So this is a python's skin caught here in the park. And you can see that pattern. They're not just camouflage, we call them cryptic. That's the scientific word for it. They get to be really, really big. And getting these things is really close. So I didn't do this one, but I was there, and it was something to see. So you can see I apologize, cameras. I don't want to make you nauseous right now. But you can see how big this thing is. It's bigger than I am. And that python right there certainly took a lot of animals out of their native environment to be able to go to the water. Here's another one that's been tanned by a professional. This one's a little bit longer. It's about 11 feet in length. How big and powerful these creatures are able to get. They do not have venom. Their main strategy is to, again, sneak up on their prey, ambush them, and they're considered constrictors, so they'll coil up around an animal, try to choke it of its life, and then, much like the alligator, they'll swallow their prey whole, and they can just sit with a giant lump in their stomach for weeks, slowly digesting. So again, these animals, we know that they're here and they're likely here to stay. There's only one road in the park. Very, very difficult to be able to find these animals. So what they did was a couple years ago, which was tagged and had a radio call on. They let 100 of these marsh rabbits loose in an attempt to sort of figure out Okay, once they disappear, we assume they've been eaten by python, maybe by python, could have been eaten by something else. It doesn't matter. They released 100 rabbits into the Everglades, and within 2 weeks they were all gone. All of their radio transmitters were off. So that's an indication. While it's certainly likely some of them didn't get eaten by pythons, yeah, pythons are pretty prolific in that they reproduce. So you can find them with maybe 30, anywhere between 30 to 90 eggs, depending on the size of the female. So when they cut the python open, they do the necropsy. They're able to determine the sex of the snake and determine which has eggs. So there's python eggs right here. Now the direct line of pythons, with the python problem, no pythons in the history of the Everglades until the 70s. Maybe they saw a couple in the 80s, a few more in the 1990s, but right around the year 2000, they really started to take off. So the population of mammals, and this is the graph right here, the population has gone down by about 85%. And most scientists say that's a direct result. Increase in python in the Everglades. So where it was really common, even something like a raccoon, very, very rare to be able to see it in the Everglades. And it's like everybody wants to see the alligators and, oh, the bears. Most of the people in the park get really excited to see a small squirrel or something because we haven't been. So not only are invasive animals problems, picture of Brazilian pepper. It comes from Brazil. And people thought it looked like holiday, popular around holiday times. So they were brought here as ornamental plants. Birds like to eat their seeds. They eat the seeds, they poop the seeds out, and they're able to grow. And it's probably the most invasive plant that's so far. People are making the soil toxic to prevent other plants from growing. You can see it is a very prolific. It spread rapidly. You have native Everglades wetland, and you can almost see the line. And hundreds of millions of dollars trying to contain this plant. So it's directly affecting our park budget, state budget, and federal budget. So invasive problems not only bad for the environment, but drain on some of our money resources. And this is, I know, graphs, whatever, but this is probably the best thing to help illustrate when invasive species become problems. It shows that sort of expanding nature of what happens when the longer and longer these organisms are out there, the area infested, the area populated, it's much easier to control. As you can see, the cost, it's easier to go out and remove one or two, or to simply keep them out. Once they're detected, we start trying to figure out how the heck we're going to be able to eradicate them. As far as we can go, the longer that they're established, the more expensive and more dramatic they can. And at this time, with the pythons, it's looking like they're going to be here forever. So what we try to do with invasive animals now is catch them right here, right at this portion of the graph, so that we can keep costs low and minimize the effect of the environment. So this is an Argentine tegu, comes from Argentina. They have been found outside of the boundary of the parks, and now they do pretty intense monitoring in order to make sure we catch them before their population becomes established and starts to explode. And lastly, this is a Nile monitor lizard. This is another particularly nasty one because they're a little bit more aggressive towards people. So once we know that there have been one or two spotted, it's up to park managers and park biologists to try to do the best we can to prevent them from becoming a problem. It's a lot easier said than done, but what we try to focus on is one, understanding and mitigating, trying to make these effects on the Everglades less, but at the same time, recognizing other animals that might be a potential problem. So that all sorts of scientists want to come out to the Everglades and they hear python. They've got detector dogs they've tried, so dogs that there's cute little beagle that goes out and supposedly able to sniff them. they'd set up, but these creatures are really, really hard to find. So they took an area 10 meters by 10 meters and put up a fence. And inside of that area, they released 10 pythons. And they had a bunch of herpetologists, snake experts, to go out and look for these pythons in that well-defined enclosed area, and they weren't able to find them. So that speaks to how well these creatures are camouflaged. The best solution that we got after we spent millions of dollars on support, the best, most cost-efficient and effective way to catch the pythons is to drive up and down the road at night. That's it, because snakes are drawn to the asphalt and they're cold-blooded. So the Florida sun heats up the road, and snakes go out to the road to sort of warm up, and they just try to run them over and capture them. So it's not very elegant. It doesn't seem, you figure that scientists be able to figure that out, but at this point, the best thing for them to do is just drive the snake patrol team, just drive up and down the street all night. They have imported is the wrong word. They've hired over, so in their native, the ironic thing is these pythons are actually endangered in their native habitat because people are hunting them. So they brought special snake hunters from this village in India and in Burma. And they said, okay, you're the best snake hunter in the world. And they brought them over here, hopefully to teach some of their techniques to local hunters. They have python challenges, where they encourage the public to go out and they get, there's a bounty on them, so they get paid by foot. But the reality is it's likely that we lost the battle against the python. And then hopefully we're going to be able, unless technology could evolve or genetics could evolve. So the focus for a lot of park planners now is to identify potential problem organisms, not just animals, and plants, and try to stop them before they take. So it's an awful lot in just a short amount of time. What I would like is to be able to answer some questions you might have about the Everglades, about pythons, about invasive species, or anything about national parks, and I'll try to do the best I can to answer.
Cool. Hey, Chris, we definitely appreciate it. We have, that's really loud on my part. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear? Can you? Okay. What we have is a handful of questions. We had some of our students write for you, and we're just going to kind of bring them up one by one. They're going to just tell you who they are, and if you can just you've hit some of them actually, I think already, but just kind of give a little bit of insight for some of those. That would be awesome. Okay. So guys, what we're going to do is some of you guys have questions already. So what I'm going to ask, Kenyon, if you would move, I'm going to give you this chair. And whoever the person asking is, I'm going to ask you to pull that chair up right here so you can actually, you know what? Why don't you stay, Kenyon? Bring your chair up here, Kyle. Okay. What we're going to do is you get to kind of sit in front of the screen, and you can ask the questions. And just as a reminder, okay, Lucas, Jive, and Kyle, you're the first three. So if you want to come on up, Lucas first. So then Jive and Kyle. So just introduce yourself. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Speak real loud into it so it can hear you. Okay.
Are pythons really an invasive species yet in the Everglades?
Almost definitely. Yeah. And there's a difference between non-native or exotic and invasive. Non-native or exotic animals and plants, they come in and they're not necessarily a threat that does damage to the ecosystem. The pythons are most definitely a harmful invasive species, and it's definitely in the Everglades, yes, for sure.
You just stand up and move out. Kyle, you're free.
Hello, my name is Jai Sample. How are they hurting the environment?
They're hurting the environment because they're taking animals out of the environment. They're eating those small animals. So not only is it hurting local animal populations, but now if you are an owl or a hawk, something that likes to eat little rodents, it's much more difficult for them to find food. So they're wiping out animals, which is bad for that particular animal, but that's also having an effect on the food web and things that are interconnected. They all depend on each other for survival.
Thank you.
John, remember your
Hello, my name is Kyle, and how are you getting rid of them?
Well, again, as I mentioned, we drive up and down the main park road at nighttime. They've also attached videos to females, to some female snakes. They're called Judas snakes. And what that female does is, so the scientists are able to track her, and the hope is if they follow her, you know where she is, she's going to lead them to more males who are trying to mate with her. So they're able to, she will lead them to where other snakes are hanging out.
Okay. Kyle, what's like the biggest nest of snakes that you've seen or you kind of run into when you're out, if you've helped out with the hunting and searching through the Everglades?
I have never seen one that's not on the road.
Really?
They're really, really hard to find.
Okay.
People go out, the professionals, they'll go out in a week and then they'll be able to find them.
Okay.
Driving down the road is the best place to see them.
Okay. Very cool.
Hello again. What other invasive species do they have in the Everglades?
Well, we've got, Florida is the invasive species capital of the world. Because we have a subtropical climate, we have the ability, lots of animals are able to thrive in this environment. And it gets, one of the reasons it's a problem where we live is because it doesn't get cold enough for any of these creatures to die during winter. So there's almost like a little bubble around South Florida. Like in northern portions of Florida, pythons aren't able to survive. So the other big one that we've got in South Florida is a lionfish. It was very similar to the pythons. People had them as pets, and you've seen they're very, very pretty fish. Were released into the ocean, but the thing is they were released into the long ocean. They belong in the Pacific, and now that they're here, they're completely decimating local fish populations. So the lionfish is really bad. Brazilian pepper is really bad. There's something called the Old World climbing fern, which is, because of the way it reproduces with its spores, if you walk up against it, like they're microscopic, they'll stick to you, and then you can transport it in other places. So those are the real big ones that we've got. We've got all sorts of fish that will release from fish farms. It's a big deal.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jaden, and what problems do the other invasive species cause?
The problem is a good question. For something like plants, they are able to outcompete native species. And what that does is plant an animal, or excuse me, the animals, like if you're a butterfly, and you need a certain type of flower to pollinate, there's no longer that flower around. There's types of that live in the Everglades, and no else on planet Earth. There's no spot in the world. Humans are allowed to move in, they establish a monoculture. So a lot of the plant communities that we've got, it depends on lots of different types of plants and biodiversity, so lots of different types of plants. When these invasive plants move in, there's miles and miles of nothing but that plant. So it can completely take over and hurt the base, the producer level of the ecosystem.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kalia, and what kind of education do you need to become a ranger?
That's a good question. Really, you only need to have a type of degree or be in the process towards it. The Everglades is one of 417 national parks, and all of them depend on different things. There are historical parks, places that you might not think of, like maybe the Statue of Liberty, where you might have different types of focus. There are parks up in Alaska that use sled dogs to recreate, sleds that the dogs carry the sleds in. There's a job for park rangers who they literally tickle puppies to determine whether or not they're going to be good sled dogs. So there's a tremendous amount of diversity within the Park Service and within the types of parks that are out there. So there's probably, if you've got an interest in dinosaur national parks, as long as you're in the process of going towards a degree, there's likely a park that's got something that's going to be of interest to you. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carlea.
It's right there. You get closer.
What does a ranger do during his or her day? Do you work with animals a lot?
That's a good question. So again, very different. There's lots of different types of folks who work here. I deal a lot with people, with the public. So my job is when people come to the park is to make them want to come back. And that's not necessarily, we don't feed animals in national parks. Rather, we try to get people to appreciate the animals and observe them and learn about them and get excited about it. But there are folks whose job it is simply to go out and monitor invasive plants. They use all sorts of satellite tracking, all sorts of, there are people who go out on boat patrol. There are people who go out scuba diving, monitoring seagrasses. So a typical day is really atypical for at least with the Everglades because it can really matter depending on what the needs of the day are. So there's an awful lot going on.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chris, just real quick, I'm just curious. You said you guys go scuba diving. What exactly do you guys go scuba diving for? Is it for plant life, or is it more to kind of keep an eye on the animals? Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
So most of the habitat in the Everglades is the marine part is something called seagrass. It's grass that grows into the water, but it's actually flowering plant. And the water is really, really shallow. So oftentimes, and now it's huge for manatees, it's huge for sea turtles. In 1 square meter of seagrass, you can have up to 500 organisms living in it. So if a boat crashes into the seagrass, the propeller kicks up and it can damage a lot of the seagrass. So if that does happen grounding, they do what's called ecosystem mitigation, where they determine the damage done by the person, as well as the fines that might occur. And they also do pretty regular surveys so that they go to the same spot on basically the same time of year in order to track fish populations, fish and other marine populations of the park. It varies from ecosystem to ecosystem. There are some folks who go out scuba diving in Biscayne National Park, but there's over 100 shipwrecks that are out there, and they're still finding shipwrecks that have sank hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So there's park archaeologists who go out and they do the transects with the grid in order to map and learn about those shipwrecks, because when the boat was sinking, people didn't bother to write down. If the boat is sinking, they're not going to write down, say, the ship was the Earl King, and it went down on this date. So it's their job to identify human-made wrecks, and it could be planes too in the park. So a lot of different reasons to be going out depending on where the park is.
Okay, very cool. Okay, we got another question.
My name is Terrell. Where are you stationed at? Do you get moved around?
Some people do. I am permanently here in the Everglades, the Pine Island district. So there is mobility in the park. A lot of folks they go from season to season. When it's busy here in the Everglades, busiest in the winter because it's really pretty hot, buggy, and miserable in the summer. So during the summer months, they get to go to other national parks like maybe Yellowstone or Yosemite out west, where it's the busy season of it. They would call that seasonal tours, meaning they get the opportunity to bounce around. So there are always lots of, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going to Kentucky. Cumberland Gap, I've never been there. I don't know, we'll figure that out. I'll be there for about a month and a half. But it's an opportunity to learn and see how other parks are doing.
Okay.
Which national park do you have near you? We went there on beginning of the year. Assateague's a national.
Ooh, there you go. They had horses there?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
All right, Jacob, can you?
Make sure you can see you. Make sure you can see yourself.
Okay, I am Jacob, and what type of equipment do you carry?
What type of do I care? I basically, the most important thing for me, the most dangerous thing in the Everglades is going to be a person who's not following directions and they get lost. So we pretty much always carry a radio for park communication and first aid and extra water, depending on what we're doing. I know we have fire folks. This is actually busy fire season right now. And fire is important to the Everglades. However, some habitats need fire in order to be able to survive. So if they do what they call prescribed burn, where they start a fire to give the habitat a healthy amount of fire that it needs while still protecting people and property. And they go out with these helicopters. I don't get it, but they have these really cool like Nerf guns that shoot these little ping pong balls out that's filled with a chemical. And when it hits the ground, the ball breaks and causes a chemical reaction and starts fires. And you can Google some videos. That's really cool. So depending on what your job is, it's very but always first aid, radio, and water, no matter where you're going. Maybe we can stick sometimes.
Chris, we only have a few more questions. Okay, I promise.
Ooh, no worries.
Hi, my name is Ayana. And do you ever have to deal with poachers?
We do, actually. We have poachers from a couple different types. They're the ones that you think of. There's a type of very, very endangered fish called a sawfish. It's got a nose that looks like a saw. People put their nose so that they'll fish them out and they'll just cut it off and let it go. But we also have people who like very rare flowers. We have orchids that grow, and especially in the summertime. And there are people who they really, really like flowers. They actually steal flowers for people. Overfish and take things that they're not supposed to. They poach sea turtle eggs. We have sea turtles that nest on some of our beaches, so that's another problem. It's not as big a problem as some people might think, but sorry, my phone's ringing. It's on silent right now. It's fortunately not a huge problem that you think of, but it definitely is there. Most of the poaching comes in the form of overfishing. People taking more fish than they're supposed to.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Abby. Have you ever been hurt on the job?
Little things. Fortunately, because the animals in the Everglades don't want to eat us, except mosquitoes. The most common thing is being dehydrated, which is down in South Florida. It can get very, very hot, very, very humid. So I've been severely dehydrated. But fortunately, I gave the venomous snakes their space. They didn't mind. But most of the injuries that happen at work are office injuries, people bending and twisting the wrong way.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris, that was the last of our formal, written out questions that we had. But I'm gonna just ask. Any of you guys have any questions or things that you want to ask that you want to come over? Look, I got maybe one or two more. Ethan, you can come up. super quick. Ms. Kowalski. After remember, we're doing.
Hi, I'm Ethan Only. What's the terrain like where you're at?
Very good question. A lot of times when people think about national parks, they think of like mountains. Florida is super flat, and it's made up of limestone, so it's sharp, jagged rocks. And the elevation, the highest point in the park is like 14 feet over sea level. And it slowly goes down. So most of the terrain is very rough. And the reason it's so difficult to go out into, and during the wet season of the year, most of that ground is covered with water, so you've got to use airboats to be able to get from place to place. The boats with the big fans on the back. But most of it is really flat, sharp, jagged pinnacle rock, that limestone, and the presence of water, there's a lot of water.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris. Just out of curiosity, have you guys started using drones yet at all to like kind of monitor or survey the areas?
That's really pretty tricky subject, because once drones sort of kind of came into they got like really popular, there was a lot of trouble because the National Park Service is a federal agency to deal with the nuance of drones being used. So they threw out this ban, because it's easier to just say, hey, no drones in national parks for now until we get to figure out some way to regulate the airspace. I know there has been talks of people to get certain types of permits, but the public is not allowed to use drones, and I think it's discouraged by the Park Service in general, because they don't. It has not been formally written up as of yet, to my knowledge.
Okay, we're starting to fly them at school, so we were just curious.
Oh, that's awesome, and I'm good drones. It's cool.
Anybody else have any questions or thinking of they want to jump up and ask? Cool. Well, Chris, I think we got all of our questions answered, and I'm super thankful for you spending an hour of your day to come chat with us all the way from Florida.
No worries. Come down and visit the Everglades.
So, cool. Yeah, maybe we'll make a school trip one time.
Good. All right. Come in the winter.
All right. Well, hey, guys, let's see if we can wave goodbye.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, Chris, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, bye.
No, Mr. Chris, thank you. All right, Miss Kowalski class.
Just wait until I pull mine out.
Oh, not mine.
I gotta pass mine out.